In this tutorial, we're going to talk about data list matching. We're going to start where we have left in the previous tutorial. Here we have two circles divided by the same number of points, and we also have lines created by connecting these two lists of points. For this definition to work the way we want to, it is crucial to have the same number of division points, and that number is defined using this slider over here. You can change the value generated by the slider, and you can see that the definition works fine no matter the count of the division points. So let's leave it at 10 for now. I'm gonna now turn on the preview of the point list components so that we can see the indices of these points. And now you can see that the way the line is created, it's by matching the same value indices. So 1 with 1, 2 with 2, 3 with 3, and of course 0 with 0. I'm also gonna grab a couple of panels so that we can compare these two lists visually. And so you see that both of these lists are matching in length. But what would happen if these two lists would not match? How the line component would connect these points? This issue is the focus of this tutorial. Let's go open a new Grasshopper file. I'm gonna begin by generating a list of numerical values using series component. You can find this component under sets, sequence. As usual, let's grab a panel so that we can read the output, and then let's have a quick look at the input parameters required for series component. So series component already has some default values set. So it requires a start numerical value, which is 0. It also has an input for step size and step count. We are going to stick with the default settings for now. Let's go under vector, point, and choose construct point component. And let's connect the series output to one of the coordinates. It doesn't matter which one. I think I'm going to disconnect the X input and then connect the series output to the Y input for the construct point component. And I'm also going to turn on the grid preview in Rhino window so you can see that these points are generated as an array along Y axis. Let's go to the component palettes under display and choose point list component to preview points, and I'm also going to change the size so that we can read the indices. We have one list of points here. Let's select this small group of components, and using Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, let's copy and paste. So as you understand, now we have two lists of points. They are just overlapping. So let's add some change to the second copy. Let's move this second array of points to the left along X axis. I'm using a panel here, just typing in the value of 3. Last thing we need to do is to change the amount of points in one of these arrays, in one of these lists. I'm going to use a number slider for that, just double clicking on canvas, typing in the value. I'm going to choose the range of integers from 1 to 10, click enter, and then connect this slider to one of the series component, connect with the count input. And now we can make one list shorter than the other one. Let's leave this one at 6. For visual purposes, I'm going to turn off the preview of the construct point components. So here we have a situation with two lists that have different lengths. Under curve primitive, let's grab line component and let's see how Grasshopper is going to create lines or connect these two arrays of points that are different in length. They have different number of items. As you can see in the Rhino viewport, Grasshopper solves this sort of discrepancy between lists by prioritizing the longest one, or the list with the highest number of items in it. So line component connects the items in these two lists with the matching indices, so 0 with 0, 1 with 1, and so on, until it reaches the point where there's no match in the shorter list. So then all the rest of the items are connected to the last item in the shorter list. So just to emphasize, these settings are the default ones. We can choose different settings. Under sets list at the bottom you can see 3 possible components, and we're going to cover all of them, but in this tutorial we are talking about the longest list option, so let's pick that component. Notice that this longest list component has this black sub option bar, which means that if we right click on the component we can choose to alter the algorithm. But let's first reconnect the construct point component outputs and also reconnect it to the line component. And now let's explore these sub options of the longest list component. So currently active option, the default one, is repeat last. We can also choose to repeat first, interpolate, wrap, and flip. So these options are a bit more advanced, and it would be quite complicated to explain in the beginner series where and how these could be useful to you. I would say that the repeat last, the default one, and repeat first are the most commonly used, and then maybe also interpolation, but again these are maybe a bit more advanced. Okay, so I think we have covered the basics of the longest list data matching. In the next tutorial we're going to talk about another option which is called the shortest list. I will see you then.